Tesla, I don't care. Oh, video games. I like that.
Let's talk now about SpaceX, Tesla. You got a lot of lawsuits. You've got X.com. You got a lot going on. How do you relax?
Well, I relax. I spend time with my kids, my friends, and I, think somewhat of a nerd technologist. So I like to play video games. So
Rafflegator met this guy.
I'll play video games with friends
crazy.
online.
Which one?
He taught his kids how to play
Lately, I've
Overwatch
been
at their
playing
house.
Diablo.
Oh, damn.
But I've played almost all the games over the years. A long time ago, I was like semi-pro good at Quake. This is really dating me because we're talking about
Well, that's gonna base that Quake is hardcore.
like 25 years ago.
I don't know video games. I just know that my great nephew loves Fortnite and some other stuff. He's always with the headphones and doing the thing. So that helps you relax, right? So
Yeah. And the nice thing is if you've got friends in different cities and they're playing the same game, you can both go online at the same time and play the game together, even though you're in different cities.
Listen, I'm not asking you anything that anyone else hasn't asked you about your controversial stuff that you tweet. You post a lot of controversial stuff. Is that considered blowing off steam?
Chat, why is it so hard for them to ask an objective question that could be good, but always have a tone of a gotcha? Is it possible to just become a better interviewer and just ask a tough question without that fucking ass tone? Hey man, would you tell us more about the use of your tweet in a way to make you look like a fucking dumb fuck, you moron shitlord? Any answer about that? Like, fuck, man, why?
Well, I guess I do enjoy using the platform. I mean, I do call the X platform the PvP, or player versus player platform. So in video games, there's player versus like environment, where you're not playing against other people, and then there's PvP, which is like hardcore. You're actually playing against other people, and
But that's blowing off steam for you.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is to some degree, not always. I mean, obviously I use it for, to post jokes, to post, sometimes trivia, sometimes things that are of great importance.
So you do a lot of it at night, like late at night. So when you're doing this, are you sober when you do it?
Almost always.
Under the influence of anything?
Ever done a sober tweet, brother?
Not really. No.
So you got no drink, no smoke, no nothing. I mean, you smoke pot with Rogan.
I had one puff.
Yeah.
No.
I think anyone who smokes pot can tell I don't know how to smoke pot.
But you've admitted that you have a ketamine prescription.
Yeah.
What's that for?
Well, I mean, it's pretty private to ask somebody about a medical prescription, But I think it's something I'd say, like, there are times when I have sort of I don't know, like a negative chemical state in my brain, like depression, I guess, or like depression that's not linked to any negative news, and then ketamine is helpful for getting one out of a negative frame of mind.
Well, listen,
So in fact, I generally, obviously I'm not a doctor, but I would say if someone has depression issues, they should consider talking to their doctor about ketamine instead of SSRIs.
Ooh.
listen, I think that ketamine and drug therapy is increasingly becoming more in the mainstream.
Yeah.
Do you think that you're doing it under a doctor's care, right?
Guys, no shot. It's on the doctor's care if you got a prescription. Bro, some people, some shit doesn't work for them, right? And some people are like, they've tried everything or whatever. It is what it is. Trying something new and different and guided. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, this guy's not a fucking doctor, bro. Like, the fuck?
Right.
Yeah. Literally a prescription from a real doctor, not like,
Yeah, but do you feel like you ever abuse it?
I don't think so. If you use too much ketamine, you can't really get work done. So I have a lot of work. So I'm typically putting in like 16-hour days. That's normal for me, and it's rare for me to even take off a weekend day. So I don't really have like a situation where I can be not mentally acute for an extended period of time. Like I can't really get wasted. because I can't get my work done.
So how often do you take it?
Well, it'd be like
fed, bro.
a small amount once every other week or something like that.
But there's not on the bottle where it says take this dose this many times a week or whatever. If it's
Yeah,
under a
there's
doctor's
the dose. And there are several weeks will go by where I don't use it.
You don't use it.
Yeah, I think it's just, like I said. I think what I find ketamine is if you have like literally like a chemical state in your brain that you can't just think yourself out of.
I mean, dude, if you have like back pain all the time, you get prescription for fucking for like codeine or some shit, right? I mean, if one day you wake up and you don't have a lot of pain, you don't take it. If if you have an oxycodone, motherfucker, and you have it doesn't hurt as much, you don't take it. Oh, I slept poorly. My back hurts today. I take it. This guy makes like a more controlled use sound like this guy's like off the perk, like off the fucking street shit. Like, dude, the fuck.
Then ketamine is help.
Dude, everybody has painkillers at home, like fucking like Tylenol. If you don't have a headache, you don't take it. That's what it is.
Helpful for getting you out of a depressive mind state.
You suffer from depression, or you have a depressive mind state? And I asked you as someone who has suffered from depression.
I wouldn't say that I wouldn't say that I have like a case of like extended depression. It's just once in a while I get into a negative sort of chemical mind state. Once in a while, it's not a common thing, but once in a while it does happen.
Where do you think that comes from?
I think it's just genetic, basically.
You think it's just genetic history?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, some people are just wired to be happy all the time. Some are unfortunately wired to be sad a lot of the time. And in my case, I'm generally pretty positive and optimistic. But once in a while, I don't know what happens to some.
Is addictive opioids? Not an opioid, I don't think.
Like I said, I think it's just chemical tides in your brain once in a while. It's like a brain storm.
Yeah. Do you ever worry that this may get in the way of your government contracts and clearances, and also and Wall Street as well?
Well, from a standpoint of Wall Street, what matters is execution. Are you building value for investors? Tesla is worth about as much as the rest of the...
Chat, I don't think you guys understand it. Every question this guy is asked so far is trying to make controlled and prescription use sound like recreational and street use. Every single question, that is the goal in mind, is to transform the current use into something that it's not on purpose. I think it's just weird.
Car industry combined from nothing. So that's pretty good. As I mentioned, we had the best-selling car on Earth last year. So from an investor standpoint, if there is something I'm taking, I should keep taking it.
Have you talk about your ketamine use and depression? Have you also have said, and
the reason I should say the reason I mentioned the ketamine prescription on the X platform was because I thought maybe this is something that could help other people. That's why I mentioned it.
Yeah. Can we talk about the great replacement theory now? Some of the things that you post, the great replacement theory. You claim that Democrats, President Biden's immigration plan to open up the border, you said that the president is getting, and Democrats are doing it to get more votes. But undocumented immigrants cannot vote in federal elections, so how is that possible?
Right. Well, you're conflating two things. One is great replacement theory. The other is, which I don't subscribe to that. I'm simply saying that there is an incentive here. If legal immigrants, which I think have a very strong bias to, at least everything I've read, it's a very strong bias to vote Democrat. The more that come into the country, the more they're likely to vote in that direction. But it is, in my view, a simple incentive to increase voters, Democrat voters. And yeah, so the question is like how?
I don't think it's entirely wrong.
A few ways that this works. One is that when the census is done, the census is based on all people in an area, whether they are citizens or not. So if there are a concentration of...
I think if something changes and makes your entry easier or whatever, right? And whatever, when you do come in, I think he's saying that like oh, it's something that was for them, or all of the people that made that in place as just a way. But I think that's what they're saying.
People who came here illegally in a particular state or in a particular state, that state will actually then get an increased number of House seats. So the House seat apportionment is proportionate to the number of people, not the number of citizens. So the illegals overwhelmingly go to places like California and New York, and if you just look at the math, if you look at the apportionment with and without illegals, I believe California would lose. I believe the blue state, there would be a net loss of blue states of approximately 20 seats in the House.
Oh.
This also applies to the Electoral College. So you say, like, well, this also applies to electing the president, because the electoral votes are also done by apportionment the same way that House seats are done.
But the reason, Elon, the Electoral College is in place is to balance that, is so that doesn't happen. So what you're saying about it is the exact opposite of the reason why the Electoral College is there. The Electoral College at this point, in our history, gives people who are in smaller states and red states much more of an influence over our elections than people who are in blue states, and the majority of the people in this country. That's what the Electoral College does. It actually does the exact opposite of what you're saying. It protects people who are in smaller states and protects people who are in red states.
Well, does that
the red states because they tend to be smaller.
I think what he's saying is right, but I don't think he's answering the correct question, unless I'm wrong. I don't think he's talking about the same proportion.
And less populous.
I think that statement is what you said is true, but what I said
is
is
right, but I
also
don't think
true.
he's answering the correct
which
question.
Is that if as is the case, a disproportionate number of legal immigrants go to blue states, they amplify the effect of a blue state vote, and the math, as I understand it,
think
you can
that makes
research
sense.
this obviously very easily on there. It's pretty straightforward to research this. But my understanding is that there would be that the Democrats would lose approximately 20 seats in the House if illegals were not counted in the census, and that's also 20 less electoral votes for president. So the illegals absolutely do affect the who controls the House and who controls the presidency. It does not affect the Senate.
Yeah. In blue states, you're talking about. I
Yes.
don't believe that your information on that is right. So listen, let's talk more about the Great Replacement, because the first time that you posted on X about.
It's an interview. He doesn't want an interview to turn into a debate. That's why he's moving on. It's not entirely wrong, but.
You shouldn't even say that though. He just goes next. That was so weird.
I think that's like being in an argument with like a girlfriend or whatever, and being like, okay, you're wrong, but we can move on. Or it's like one that had the last jab. It's really lame.
Last jab. Like,
this Jewish conspiracy.
It's really lame.
I didn't call it a conspiracy. I just said that there's a simple matter of incentives. You don't need a conspiracy when you have basic incentives. In my view, there's a basic incentive that is fundamental that for the Democrat Party to foster and usher in a large number of illegals. Yeah. And you don't need a conspiracy in that case, because you have a very basic incentive. You could say I'm wrong about that incentive, but that's my view. I'm not buying some great replacement theory. I'm simply saying there appears to be a very clear incentive for Democrats to maximize the number of illegals because it helps them win elections.
I'm talking about the Great Replacement theory is also part of a Jewish conspiracy theory. And when you did the tweet, or you responded to the tweet about that, you ended up apologizing, and which I think is, it's good that you ended up apologizing. You went to Auschwitz with Ben Shapiro.
Yeah.
Right? So you said you learned your lesson. What did you learn?
I said I learned my lesson.
You said you learned your lesson when you apologized, and you said you went to Auschwitz. You saw what.
No, I was already aware of these things, and the nature of my comment that really inflamed people. What I was trying to say, and I did very quickly clarify. This is what I'm saying: is that a number of prominent Jewish philanthropists fund groups that they should really take a closer look at funding, because some of the groups they fund, I think, are anti-Semitic.
Yeah. Do you understand the connection between the two? there's a connection between, you said Democrats, the Great Replacement Theory, but when it comes to the actual Great Replacement Theory, originally it was started about Jewish people, as you said, flooding in the country, and then now people are using it for Democrats, saying the same thing about Democrats. Flooding.
In my view, it's a simple matter of incentives.
Yeah.
I actually don't see an incentive for Jewish people to want to have legal immigration. I don't think there is such an incentive.
The Great Replacement Theory is a neo-Nazi trope. It's in the
Bro,
neo-Nazi...
this guy keeps trying to get him and mixing up into that fucking theory shit. But I think he's expressed a lot that he's not about that.
Manifesto. It's in the
Am I
Turner
wrong?
Diaries.
I'm
Referenced
just
by the
baiting.
Buffalo mass shooter in his manifesto, where 10 people, black people, were murdered in Buffalo. There's the actual title of the Christchurch Shooters Manifesto. 51 people in the Muslim mosque were murdered. 23 people murdered in El Paso by a shooter who used the same language that you use in that manifesto when you say Hispanic invasion.
Usually I don't like it.
Is that not?
Oh, this is gonna be a tough one. I'm about to get canceled. Dude, some manifestos don't get released when the message is like against a certain group, and when it's another, then they release it. I feel there's like a control of like release of manifestos, and I think that's odd. I think if you're gonna release some, you have to do all of them just by the way that it is. I think otherwise you're just picking and choosing what the impact is and how you're trying to control the said narrative. I think that's weird as shit. What? When proof? I know for a fact, unless I was completely misinformed by the bad internet, I did a little bit of research on it. Some manifestos I wanted to know, like, oh yeah, why this happened? And it wasn't released. A bunch of times, it was not released. They chose to not release manifesto, which shows like the motives of why they're doing it, whatever. And in some other ones, it's completely out there in the mainstream news. Why? Just do all of them. It's not that hard.
I didn't say an Hispanic invasion.
And you quoted a tweet that called it a Hispanic invasion.
If I quote something, it doesn't mean I agree with everything in it.
I think, personally, none of them should. Why? Because people are fucking mentally ill as fuck, and they want their message, all they have to say, to have an impact, right? You need to earn that. You don't get that by being some fucker, okay? If you want to have a lot of, you want to say that of matter, you do things that matter. You don't do some fucking dumb shit, you fucking ill dumbass. Oh, dude, I'm gonna do some fucking massacre, dude, so people to listen to me. You're useless. Be quiet. I don't know why they broadcast that to the world. I think it's just stupid.
It's just something that I think this is something worth people should consider.
Why would you quote something that you didn't believe?
Because anything I quote is going to have a whole range of statements. Doesn't mean I agree with everything in it.
Do you think
Chat, because the basis of it is that the victims are being used as a megaphone, right? The megaphone isn't going anywhere unless it's rebroadcasted by the media, right? So by broadening what they're saying in their little manifestos, they're literally amplifying the fucking signal of that stupidity onto the world, giving it exactly what they want. They're giving them way more value on that megaphone, like crazy. Why? It's just so cringe, dude. These people don't deserve to have their fucking voice be heard because they're using bodies and death of people as a fucking amplifier. It's just, what is wrong with these people?
Moderated yourself more, if there was better content moderation on the platform, that you wouldn't have to answer these questions from reporters about the Great Replacement Theory as it relates to
Democrats, have to answer these questions.
The Great Replacement Theory as it relates to Jewish people. Do you think that?
I don't have to answer questions from reporters. Don, the only reason I'm doing this interview is because you're on the...
Wait, hold on. That's funny. Go back.
Platform that you would, if there was better content moderated. Do you think if you moderated yourself more, if there was better content moderation on the platform, that you wouldn't have to answer these questions from reporters about the Great Replacement Theory as it relates to
Democrats? I don't have to answer these questions.
Great Replacement.
Bro, this buster asked a question about some concept that was never fucking mentioned. Then he's saying, if you did bid on Twitter, do you think you would not be asked this question that he asked? Bro, he makes a problem, says, do you think you would have to deal with these problems if you didn't act this way? You made that problem.
Replacement theory as it relates to Jewish people. Do you think that?
I don't have to answer questions from reporters. Don, the only reason I'm doing this interview is because you're on the X platform and you asked for it.
I'm not looking at.
Otherwise, I would.
This is
not
weird.
do
I hate reporters.
So you don't think do you think that you wouldn't get in trouble or you wouldn't be criticized for these things?
I'm criticized constantly. I could care less.
You don't care.
Oh.
No, I don't.
Why
care.
not?
I don't think people should care what the media thinks about them. They're terrible judges of character.
Even someone who has one of the biggest social media and biggest information platforms in the world, you don't care? You don't think?
What if people give you that platform because they enjoy that you are yourself? What if this guy cannot fathom this guy cannot fathom the idea that people enjoy somebody that just does things for the sake of doing them, right? He's like, oh my God, no way people told me you could do that. Dude, his platform is as big because people enjoy that content and he does that. I'm not even glazing him, it's just what it is, like.
That you have any X.com or you have any responsibility to the truth or moderating the platform?
You're conflating the truth with the media, and I think the media is not truthful.
Well, not just the media. I mean, just the truth in general.
That was such a big
I
answer.
care about the truth very much. That's why we have, for example, community notes on the X system, where
that's actually been a good
in
feature.
order for community note to surface and provide corrective information about what somebody posts, and my posts are.
Oh no, I see what this guy was going on. Okay, but more positive. The interviewer was saying, my information is better than yours. Therefore, moderate the information I don't agree with because that's what you should be doing. Gotcha. Makes sense.
Many times. In order for a community note to surface, people who have historically disagreed must agree in order for a community note to surface. And all of the code for community notes is open source. All of the data is open source, so you can completely recreate it from scratch. The way to build trust is transparency.
I have noticed community notes. I think that you are right about that, and I do think community notes are helpful. I think any type of content moderation, I do think that's helpful. You recently called content moderation, though, a digital chastity belt. Do you think that, you believe that X and you have some responsibility to moderate hate speech on the platform?
I think we have a responsibility to adhere to the law, and we have a responsibility to be transparent about when things are shown, why they're shown. That's why we open source.
Oh man. A good comeback here is just saying, okay, define hate speech. Go ahead. Because, yeah, just do that.
It's our algorithm.
Define hate speech.
I think once you start going beyond the law, now you're putting your thumb on the scale. And we don't want to put our thumb on the scale.
It doesn't concern you that hate speech has gone, research shows that it's gone up on the platform since you took over. That's not concerning to you?
I believe that is false. In fact, the research that I've seen says it went down.
The study from the Institute of Strategic Dialogue found that anti-Semitic tweets doubled from June 22 to February 2023. One study
wait, hold on.
Found that
the research that I've seen says it went down.
The study from the Institute of Strategic Dialogue found that anti-Semitic tweets doubled from June 22 to February 2023. One study reported that as many as 86% of the posts reported for hateful content remained up after being reported. Hate speech on the platform is up.
So what they will typically do is they will count the number of...
let's keep it a buck. The
environment matters,
The environment matters, exactly. People are getting away with a lot more, and they're showing people that are getting away with a lot more because of the current climate of things, right? People are going off their rockers with like anti-Semitic shit because it's... I'm just gonna say how it is. Sorry if I offend you. This is not how I see it, but the way that people make it seem to be is that, oh yeah, you can get away with like anti-Semitic shit because, oh yeah, people right now, the PR for set group isn't as good. Unleash the floodgates. Well, of course people are gonna be this way now. I mean, it is what it is. I don't offend it. I don't think it's stupid. I don't like hate speech, but that's just the reality. That's the environment that we're in right now.
Of posts, but not count the number of views. So what matters is, was that post given high visibility?
Sorry, guys. If you said you don't like Israel 2 years ago, I mean, you're GG. You're GG. But if you said that right now, you might get a lot of retweets and a lot of likes. I mean, the environment has changed. It is what it is.
True.
Or what did like one person see it? And if you look at the number of views of how many times was hate content viewed on our platform, it is down substantially.
Yeah.
Well, I want to go back because I wasn't able to chat. Fuck.
On the platform
real quick.
is up.
So what they will typically do is they will count the number of posts, but not count the number of views. So what matters is, was that post given high visibility, or what did like
Smart.
one person see it? And if you look at the number of views of how many times was hate content viewed on our platform, it is down substantially.
Damn, really?
Well, that's not was what the study shows. And you said you like transparency.
No, stop doing this. Fuck interviewer, stop doing this. Stop. Dude, it is like a girlfriend arguing with his boyfriend. Stop it. Well, it's what the research shows. No, research shows what you just said. It was just corrected, and he just corrected you. Stop going back to your old statement and says, that's what it means. No, it's not. Why do people do this?
Substantially.
Yeah. Well, that's not was what the study shows. And you said you like transparency. I'm going to show you this. And
Don, you can get a study that will tell you whatever you want.
But these are just a handful of extremely, if you look at those anti-Semitic and racist tropes and tweets. And as of this morning, they're still on X. And from your own content policy, these posts should have been deleted. So why haven't they been deleted? Why are they still there? Did you?
We delete things if they are illegal.
But these have been up there for a while.
Are they illegal?
They're not illegal, but they're hateful, and they can lead to violence.
Come on, Chad.
As I just
guys, he just even gave him the answer. We remove things that are illegal. He shows things, and he says, "Oh, dude, why wasn't this deleted?" Why? I just told you, motherfucker, because they're not illegal. Why does this guy keep doing this shit?
read to you, the shooters, in all of these mass shootings, attributed social media to radicalizing.
So Don, you love censorship, is what you're saying?
No, I don't love censorship.
Then why are you asking?
I believe in moderation, but I don't believe in
censorship. Moderation is a propaganda word for censorship.
But don't you think free speech is one thing, right? Or
no.
Not.
Okay, then interviewer guy. Okay, here's a reply to your tweets last night, and I'm gonna show him like a big pussy getting smashed from the back, dude. Oh, my OF is free. Look at my pussy getting clapped. Like, dude, what? I'm sure this guy's reply has like a bunch of porn in it. It is what it is. I mean, what? If you browse Twitter, you know that's just
not illegal.
All replies is just
we're
porn.
Putting our thumb on the scale and we're being censors.
You're putting your thumb on the scale for moderating hate speech. I mean, you don't put out child pornography. That's not.
It's illegal.
Some people would say that's considered censorship. I'm just saying you.
No, I literally, Don. I literally said if something is legal, okay, we will obviously remove it.
Okay.
But if it is not legal, the laws in this country are put forward by the citizens. We're a democracy. If those laws are put in place by the people, we adhere to those laws.
Okay, I agree.
To the laws of others. If you go beyond the law, you're actually going beyond the will of the people.
Okay, agreed with the law. But if you are doing something that promotes hate and violence and ultimately leads to killing, you don't feel you have any responsibility not to do that? When the people who are doing it admittedly are saying
there's articles all the time that lead to violence and killing. Don't they? Shouldn't they? Like you're applying a differential standard to.
But that would never be in mainstream media. These types of images, that type of language, those things would never be. We'd never, when I was in mainstream media, we'd never promote things that would be anti-Semitic.
Oh my God. Okay, here's a really hot take. Mainstream media promotes shootings. By the way they're being reported, the way they do it, the methods that they use, they promote shootings. Just this is what it is.
We would never promote things.
Well, my chat is just broken. Hold on, I gotta reset it.
Did you not see those?
You said promote. If content is on the platform, that doesn't mean we promote it.
Fixed.
But that wouldn't be on a platform for mainstream media at all.
No, but you can think of that's because the mainstream media has like, whatever, 20 articles a day. We have 500 million.
It's a good take. It's not a ketamine taken. It's not a ketamine taken. Okay, the way they portray the people that do the mass shootings, the way they go about it, dude. It's terrible, dude. It's just really, really bad. Like they are guilty of that by a crazy margin.
Has platform for mainstream media at all.
No, but you can think of that's because the mainstream media has like, whatever, 20 articles a day. We have 500 million posts a day.
Okay,
500
understood.
million.
Does it bother you? How do you feel about that? when you see it?
I obviously disagree with that. I think it's not good at all. It's terrible.
But you don't want to get rid of it on the platform, or at least moderate it.
The rules, what you're suggesting is censorship that goes beyond the law. And what I'm saying is that we, I guess, have a disagreement, because I do not believe in censorship that goes beyond the law, and you do. We have a difference of opinion in that regard.
I understand that, but these are your own rules on your own platform. These go against the rules on your platform. That's why I'm asking you. If you said, listen, we allow everything, but that's not what you're.
This guy, give him one dosage, a singular one, of Instagram or Reels comment. OD, he's ODing, he's GG. Give him a singular comment on a fucking Instagram Reel, and he's gonna pass the fuck out.
Content rules say. And that's why I'm asking you, why are they still there? Your own content policy. That's why I'm asking you that, not because...
Which part of our content policy says that we should delete these things?
Your content policy talks about hate speech.
Yes, we don't promote hate speech.
And so you don't consider that hate speech?
I guess you're not understanding what I'm saying.
They don't promote it.
If there's... You can find, like, you can sign up right now and do 100 things that are hateful. But if nobody reads it, it doesn't matter. So you can think of X as being, it's much like the internet.
Guys, you're not even giving him the chance to explain. When we said it's not awful. Okay, the guy tries to get him on the fact that, dude, let's say there was only 5 posts last year that are hateful. They say there's 10. Okay, out of the 5 people last year that did those posts, 1 person per post viewed them. That's 5. 5 to 5, right? This year, out of 10, right? There's only let's say 3 views, right? So now we have 10 posts with 3 views, right? That is a net positive for that hateful message. But this is, but there's 10 posts. Yes, there's 10 posts, but the views went down the posts, right? Went from 5 views, so the promotion of that went down, right? This guy just can't understand that. So he has to give him an example of, like, if you do dumb shit, but nobody catches it, nobody sees that, then it's irrelevant. And I think the message has a little bit of value, right? Because they're not megaphoning. They're not megaphoning the garbage. There is a lot of garbage, but it's not being megaphone. They're not promoting it. Or it's being promoted less, which is a net win for what this guy says. Doesn't get it.
Some tiny publication with like 20 articles a day is 500 million.
But everyone has the opportunity to read it, Elon.
I think everyone has the opportunity to read the internet. Are you suggesting we should shut down the internet?
No, but you don't own the internet. I'm asking you about you and your responsibility on your platform. And
listen to me, chat. If I get 100,000 people or bots to go on a Twitch channel that's unmoderated, you guys, some alt channel that I make, and I tell everybody to spam some very bad words all day. We have 1 million message per hour that is hateful, right? 1 million an hour. That is just pure hate. Very bad words, right? Now you look at Twitch overall, all the data. Dude, the hate speech on Twitch in the comments went up by 9,000% this year, dude. That's just weird. You guys promote this weird behavior. Okay, dude, like, these are bots and nobody's viewing that. Therefore, the impact of that hate is nothing. Like, where are you going with this? Like, what the fuck?
So I see how you feel now. You don't agree. We don't agree on this.
Yes, you want censorship and I don't.
No, I don't want censorship at all.
Yes, you do.
No, I want responsibility.
You desperately want censorship.
No, if I want a censorship...
You want censorship so bad you can taste it.
No, that's not true. It's not true. I think that there's right and wrong. And I think that when you have a platform that's as big as yours and as powerful as yours and as influential as yours, and you are a person of consequence to the world with what you do, that there is a certain responsibility that goes along with what you have on your platform and what you put out to the world. And I think that's important.
If you ask people to moderate their shit based on said hate, and you define hate by what you don't like, you're creating an environment where you dictate what you don't like, and you have to hold everybody accountable on don't do this, don't promote this, and then what do you have? This is just weird world of like a fucking like this controlled little room of safe space, and it's really bad. It's really stupid.
important. You don't see that responsibility.
I think we have a responsibility to adhere to the law, and if people want the law changed, they should talk to their elected representative and get the law changed, and then we will adhere to the law.
Okay.
But if you want us to go beyond the
That's
law,
also a good point that I think is going to get underplayed.
Censors.
So,
And I'm against censorship. I'm in favor of freedom of speech.
Yeah.
And freedom of speech only
Because
is relevant.
if you really, really, really don't like a certain thing, you think it's really bad, and it's more common or whatever, then you're creating a bigger problem, which causes a bigger reaction, and it changes the law. If you want something bad to stop being in front of you, right? You close your eyes. If you want something to stop happening on a fucking state or countrywide level, you go to your people and you change. That's real change, right? It's gonna go to your representatives, vote your shit, do your shit, bitch.
But when people you don't like say things you don't like, otherwise it has no meaning.
but I do think that there should be guardrails, and I believe in free speech as much as you. I would fight. I don't disagree. I don't agree with a lot of what you put out on social media, but I will fight for your right to be able to say it.
Great.
Yeah. Okay. So listen, let's talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion. All right. That's been a target of yours lately on X. There was a repost of Ben Shapiro that you claim that DEI is killing people. Specifically, you point to medicine. You claim that DEI programs are putting people at risk. Do you really believe this to be true? And what evidence do you have to support it?
What I was referring to there was that if we lower the standards for doctors, so that they, if the test for a doctor is lowered, then the probability of them making a mistake and killing someone is obviously going to be higher.
Wait, say that again.
Neuralink
I'm not sure I understand what you said. I want to make sure I understand what you're saying.
Yes.
What was that?
His Neuralink just kicked in right now.
Does he got the Lipton version of it?
If the standards for passing medical exams and becoming a doctor, or especially something like a surgeon, if the standards are lowered, then the probability that the surgeon will make a mistake is higher. They're making mistakes in their exam. They may make mistakes with people, and that may result in people dying.
What evidence do you have, though, that they're lowering the standards? There's no evidence of that.
I believe there is.
There's no evidence of that, Elon. What is the evidence?
I believe they have literally lowered the standards at Duke University, and that is what the article was referring to.
There's no evidence.
Saying they
of
have
that.
not lowered the standards?
There's no evidence about lowering standards, and I think that there is.
I believe that is a false statement you're making.
Okay, well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I think
the interesting thing is, when this is posted on the X platform, there will be a whole bunch of things that rebut what you said and what I said, right? So people can then...
Objectively, chat. Is there evidence or is there not evidence? People are saying there is, but some people are saying there's not. At a ratio in chat, I think of like 9-1, maybe 95-5.
Then make their own decision based on the replies, and the rebuttals, and the community notes.
I think that's fair, but I do think that on this particular topic, I do think that you and Ben Shapiro are reaching in about this, because there was what Ben posted said that he gave instances of people who were deliberately harming people. Nowhere in the thread does Ben suggest at all, I should say, that anyone is being killed as a result of DEI. That's purely speculative. There's research on DEI and medicine, and there's no evidence that standards are being lowered, that DEI is affecting medicine. Actually, only 5% of doctors are black, and a small percent.
Yeah, well, I think you'll find that when the...
Chat, what's DEI?
Nice argument, Senator. Why don't you back it up with a source?
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Chat, guys, what is DEI? It's diversity, equity, and inclusion. Oh, suck the tip, dude.
This is posted to
I'm too dumb
the
for
X
this.
platform that people will reply to it with evidence. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's see.
Okay, but that's my whole thing about moderation. maybe you're wrong, but you'll put it out there. You don't know if it's right. Do you think that you have a responsibility to make sure?
Guys. You know what when people say skill issue, right? If you don't get the skill, you get clapped because of skill issue. What the fuck? Why should there be some bias to one of the highest levels of like professions out there that saves people or can kill people? What the fuck?
Something is right before you, the person who owns it, Elon Musk.
I'm not trying to stir anything, but does Hassan like Elon or no?
I don't know.
No? Oh.
Because people who have the skill have been discriminated against in the past. No, I understand that, but I think genuinely, society as a whole, by making just a better overall environment, right? It's just more inclusive by default. And I think that gap is like, perhaps, may I say, perhaps not significant enough these days to change the world around it. Because what happens then is that after that you have to reel back from that. But at what point, right? I think that becomes weird. What? Is that a bad take?
World, that you should know that it's true, that there are people at X who can get research for you before you put something out there like that. That's not necessarily true, even in other examples.
If I say something that is inaccurate, I'm immediately corrected on the platform. That's the advantage of a real-time system like X. So there will be immediately in the replies people correcting me. There will be a community note that will correct me, which is attached to the actual post itself.
Do you think as many people read
Yes.
You think as many people read that as it reads your tweet?
Yes, in fact, and if there's a community note that happens later where somebody didn't see, but they replied to that or interacted with that post, we will notify them that there is now a community note correcting that post.
Mm-hmm. Just so you.
Whereas if you consider the conventional media, that doesn't happen. Conventional media makes false statements all the time and nobody ever hears the correction.
When I was in conventional media, I can only speak for myself. If I got something wrong, if someone got something wrong on the platform that I was on, it was corrected, and we made sure that it was corrected. Now, I can't speak for anyone else.
I don't think that's a universal situation.
Okay. So I just the research, so when you talk, do you believe that people are dying because medical standards, DEI is causing medical standards to be lowered? Do you actually believe people are dying because of that?
I believe that...
Chat. That's just classic fucking bullshit cop-out, dude. Oh, I'm gonna make a headlines that is gonna ruin somebody's life, fuck his shit, dox his house, and kill his family. But 4 days later, I'm gonna say, guys, it wasn't really like that, my bad. At 4 a.m. in the morning, when mommy and Papo is fucking looking at the screen. Like, what the fuck? That doesn't do nothing, bruh. This guy talking about.
If we lower the standards for what it takes to become a doctor.
You're saying if we lower the standards, yes. But do you believe people are dying because the standards are being lowered?
I don't think that is yet an issue, but it could become an issue.
Okay. But the actual evidence in history shows the exact opposite. If you look at how minorities were treated by the medical system, most doctors now are white. And there are lots of mistakes in medicine. So you're saying that white doctors have bad medical care? I'm trying to understand your logic here when it comes to DEI, because there's no actual evidence of what you're saying.
No, I said...
So if it's different, it's going to be better. Chat, is the guy saying that if it's different than what it is now, it will be better?
So if the standards, like let's say, I think that particular thing was referring to surgeons. Let's say a surgeon is asked to, a surgeon in training is asked to do a series of operations under the supervision of a senior surgeon, and they get a bunch of those operations wrong. If that happens, and yet they are still approved to be a surgeon, the probability that someone will die, I think, at some point is high.
Okay, I understand that, but that's a hypothetical. That doesn't mean it's happening.
I didn't say it's happening.
You didn't say it was happening.
I said it will.
I'm not going to say what.
If we lower status, people will die.
But why respond to something or put something out there that has not happened, Because I could say,
Because I don't want it to happen. I think we don't want to lower standards.
Okay, if you look at the history of the medical industry, especially when it comes to Black Americans, it shows the exact opposite. If you look at the Tuskegee experiment and on, only 5% of doctors in America are Black. All of them are white. So are you saying that if the majority of doctors are white, are you saying that and there are still these inequities, right? And there's still mistakes. Are you blaming DEI for that?
No, I'm basically saying.
Chat. Okay, hold on. Maybe I'm completely wrong with this. Chat.
Is that fact? Is it really only 5% Black doctors?
But even in a world where it was, right?
Real?
Hold on. Even in a world where that was to be true, right? If the profession is a meritocracy, who are you to say that it should be otherwise? Even if it was 100%, right? If it's a meritocracy, which means skill equals in, right? Who are you to make something different? That by default, that de facto means that you have somebody who has enough skill who is not getting something. What kind of world do you want to live in where in a skilled something, somebody has the skill and doesn't get something over somebody who has less skill? What? That sounds ridiculous.
That if we lower standards for what it takes to become a board-certified surgeon or, an oncologist or something where the kind of disease we're talking about, if you make a mistake, causes someone to die, then more people will die than if we don't lower the standards. Therefore, we should not lower the standards.
Can you pause this? Is what he trying to say? Because I'm confused. I don't know any about this, and I'm fucking clueless.
I don't know if it's real either.
Is he trying to say that? Is Elon trying to say that it's easier to get into college now because of it's easier. They have rules for minorities. Is he trying to say?
It's not. I think it's not. I don't think it's getting to college. I think it's overall the doctor. I'd like some including, but I googled it and I couldn't really find much about it. I couldn't find the data behind it or whatever. So.
So is he just trying to say over time, if you lower the standard of I think I kind of get what Elon's saying.
Yeah, it makes sense, but I'm googling it. I can't find any articles. Chat, can you give me like an article or something like that I could read, because I don't. Let me see it.
I want to see that Duke study that he was talking about that this guy's saying doesn't exist. I feel like he wouldn't just say something exists and it's not real.
I'm not pretending I'm Destiny. I'm watching an interview and I want to see the data behind it. It doesn't lower the standard. It encourages more minorities to apply to these jobs or schools. Wait, apply or? Okay, no, hold on. Hold on.
Because
okay.
If it is easier to become an assistant surgeon, I mean, I guess that makes sense. Like, lowering the
exactly, because it's a rope, right? If you have a rope, right, and then you have the middle, right? So this is you're in and you're out. You're not increasing the rope size, right? You would be pretty much.
You're lowering the qualification.
So you're just moving the needle. Like if somebody gets something, if these guys get more, these guys get less, right? You're not making more, you're just moving around, right? So by default, that means that somebody is losing something.
The standards for...
Am I completely lost losing my mind? Then link this fucking thing then.
I want to see the study actually, yeah.
If I tell somebody, Jesse, I had 10 position in my class of running, right? But we need one fat kid, right? Well, you're in this year because you're fat. Well,
yeah.
Well, I mean, John Run isn't in, but he qualified for it. So therefore, I'm not really doing anything good here. I'm removing somebody who qualified it.
No, exactly. That's what I think. That's what Elon's saying, right?
I think so.
And he's not saying. He's just saying that I mean, in theory, it's not good.
I had to think about this the last time, and then I really thought about it, and I was like, I think my take is wrong, and I corrected my take. Basically, it's called the evolution, or learning. I learned that it's bad, because I think that the effect, or the measures put in place now, might be too aggressive compared to the actual impact that is being felt. I think that imbalance actually ends up causing a problem. That's my corrected take on it, but maybe I'm wrong.
This guy said basically he's saying white people with high scores are losing places and jobs to minorities with lower scores because workplaces need to fill quotas for diversity. Yeah, I want to know, is that a real thing?
This guy's got a tweet on. Ooh, that's a long fucking tweet, bruh. What the fudgington?
Yeah, it's kind of a complicated little fucking thing. He's putting him on the spot too. I wonder if he knew he was getting ambushed with all these questions.
Oh my god.
He knew.
Oh yeah, he's doing the same sort of simulation of luck. I like that. I like that. It's the same simulation as when you introduce luck into something that takes a lot of skill to get in. And if you combine them, but in this scenario, luck would be bias. Right?
Can you put what you're looking at on this tab so I can see it?
Yeah, hold on.
Minority.
Am I wrong about this?
Is this the study or is this just a Twitter guy talking about
This
shit?
is like a Twitter guy, but it has did on it. Okay, chat, this is true. This guy just says, DI allows the workplace to have different opinions to be heard. People of color were hired less back in the day. Now they're trying to make it more fair. I think when you have something nice, like making it more fair, you need to be very careful, in my opinion. What are the methods of making it more fair, and what does making it more fair mean? And then that's more important than making it fair. The methods of making it fair are much more important than it being fair.
Yeah, I mean, like with the extreme scenario of it being like a surgeon assistant, I get it, but there's like, you know, this other job for it probably doesn't matter as much.
I
feel like the surgeon stuff should be locked.
Alright. I'll just give you an interview and we'll see what you're saying about this shit. Well, because then what happened when it flips? What happened when it flips? You do something that removes something and they have to be more inclusive to the other side. Like,
Doctors or women doctors or...
That's what that's what that article suggested, yes. At Duke University.
Okay. The evidence that I have shows that that's not true.
Okay.
So listen, after the door blew
That is
off
so
this
fucking annoying.
mid-flight Miss Alaskan Airlines
I
flight,
hate
do you
him.
remember that? You responded to a post claiming that the average HBCU grad was less intelligent than the average airline pilot, and stated that it will take an airplane crashing and killing hundreds of people for them to change this crazy policy of DIE. I don't know if did you misspell it on purpose, which it should be DEI. Do you believe that women and minority pilots are inherently less intelligent and less skilled than white male pilots?
No, I'm just saying that we should not lower the standards for them.
Okay. But there's no evidence that standards are being lowered when it comes to the airline industry.
You've repeatedly said that there's no evidence that standards are being lowered, and watch the replies showing all the evidence that it is.
Replies, though, on social media or on Twitter are not necessarily fact and evidence.
No,
That's people's
they
opinion.
will cite all the
We'll
in the replies to this. You will see how often the information is cited, showing that indeed there are significant cases where standards are lowered.
And I do hope that happens. I do hope that happens, and I look forward to it. And as you said, if you're wrong, then you're wrong, and if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm glad we're having this conversation, debating. This is what we should be doing, debating the issue. So if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, and then that'll be proven in the thing, and you as well.
The
But I
thing
just want to tell you that
is that when I look at a thing that says if I were to, on Twitter right now, because I hate to go against anybody's opinions on this that much, but when I go on Twitter and say, if I were to say, oh, give me a tweet about this, I look at it. Oh, let's look at the comments. I click the comments. If the tweet was about A or B, okay, the replies are about fucking Halo 2 or about fucking biking on a hill. They're about accidents of motor vehicles on the U.S. roads. Like,
and there's always a comment that's like, how come the comments are never about the main video? There's always that comment too.
But he's always like third or fourth. It's always, or like way down. So
he's always there though. He's always there.
Yeah, we always have that one guy. Maybe I should do that actually. Spend that on every post I see and hope to be that guy on that post.
Yeah, and if you go to hidden, then it's pussy in bio. That's what you'll find there.
Yeah, I click it.
Pilot that you talked about, in fact, was a woman pilot. Landed the plane safely despite the major malfunction with the equipment. Boeing has taken responsibility for that incident, saying that it was caused by a faulty door panel. So I'm not sure what that had to do with lowering the standards for pilots when it was a faulty.
No, it's not lowering standards for pilots. It's the incentive structure. I believe at Boeing changed to include DEI as a fundamental executive incentive. But in my view, it should be purely about passenger safety.
Okay, but do you understand how by saying just that standards are being lowered, that you're implying that they're being lowered because people are less skilled and less intelligent?
No, this guy really is stupid. Chat, guys, this Lemon guy, this guy is fucking brain dead, dude. If you make something less of a meritocracy, you are by default lowering a standard. That's just how it is.
Of color and or women.
Look, I'm saying we should not lower standards.
But you don't?
That's it.
I think everyone can agree that you shouldn't lower standards.
Great.
But you're implying that they're lowering standards because of people of color or women, because someone is not a white male. You're saying that they're less skilled and less intelligent.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm simply saying that they are.
Then why would they be lowering the standards?
This Lemon guy, dude.
I don't know. Why are they lowering the standards?
Just so you know, 5% of pilots are female, 4% are black. So you're talking about this widespread takeover of minorities and women when that's not actually true.
I'm not saying there's a widespread takeover.
Well, you're saying that the standards are being lowered because of certain people. You don't believe in DEI, right? Do you not believe in diversity, equity, and inclusion?
I think we should be treat people according to their skills and their integrity, and that's it.
Do you know that studies show?
Studies show.
Yeah. Well, we can look them up. So your reaction to studies show, and I understand, right? Because I always like to point to an exact study, right?
Sure.
Something that is factual. It's the same thing when you talk about, well, let's see what the replies are on Twitter or on X.
Yeah, so
I feel the same.
Guys, it's unfair. If you're in an interview, okay, and you want to make it not a debate, so you don't do debates by saying, okay, let's move on, whatever. You can't say, oh, dude, give me your data, whatever, if you are not giving your data either. If it's not a complete debate, because this guy says, oh, my evidence, whatever, but he has no evidence. So it's like, let somebody make a statement, but don't try to correct their evidence if you don't have your own. I think that's a fair thing.
I feel the same way about that. But this is what studies have shown, and people will reply and they'll say that companies with more diversity in their leadership teams have reported higher innovation rates than those with lower diversity or low diversity. And they're better companies, and they make more money. This whole idea about DEI, if you go woke or whatever, you go broke, that's not necessarily true. People with diverse leadership teams and diverse workers make more money and more innovative.
Like I said, my view is that the only basis for promoting somebody should be their skills, talents, and their integrity, and that's it.
I want to ask you about, there's a federal government EEOC. They are also currently involved in a lawsuit against Tesla that alleges that there's a history of widespread racial harassment against black Tesla employees, as well as a pattern of retaliation for speaking out. What do you say to that?
I don't believe that is true. I think we've got a very good, like if you walk around the Tesla Fremont plant, I think it's a very good atmosphere. In fact, I practically lived there for 3 years trying to make the production work.
Were you aware, if you lived there, were you aware of such behavior?
I never saw it.
So you're saying that this is not true, it's not happening?
Well, I mean, there's over 20,000 people. So you say, like, if there's over 20,000 people in one building, well, is everyone going to behave perfectly? No. Did I see any situations that I thought were improper? I did not.
Let's talk about trans rights and the woke mind virus, because you've talked about that a lot. You're right about that a lot on the thing. You have been deeply outspoken about the issue of trans rights. You posted trans rights. You posted that pronouns and bio mean the woke mind virus ate your brain. Do you know what the term woke actually means?
It's come to mean a lot of things.
But what originally it was meant to mean. It's just being aware of inequities in society and being aware of facts and history.
Yeah, I think it's come to be. I think being aware of inequities in society is fine, of course, but trying to blame everything on trying to make everything a race issue is, I think, divisive and corrosive to society.
Even as it relates to trans issues, which is what I'm.
Yeah, race or gender or whatever.
You think that society blames everything on racism now?
It blames a lot of things on it, and yeah.
You think that's unfair?
Yeah.
Why?
I think we should not make this a constant subject. I think we need to move on. I think we just treat people like people.
You don't agree that this country was founded on racism and founded on slavery and in many ways inequities? That still continue on to this day?
I think every country at that time, and I think even today, was extremely racist.
Guys,
every country.
I don't give a fuck what you have in your bio. Okay, I don't put pronoun in bio because I don't really care. I understand that people will care about how they want to be called, whatever. Okay, I don't think I've ever. I think that when so many people address somebody in a tweet, they don't even use pronouns ever, like ever. I rarely see somebody say he or she or whatever the fuck. Okay, when they interact with one another. When it's very rare that I see somebody tweet something that says, "Guys, he meant." Nah, they never reply like that ever, dude. You can call me it if you want to. I'm it. It is what it is. I don't give a fuck.
Obviously, slavery was present in about half of this country, and was not present in the north. There was racism for sure, but I think we want to look to the future rather than the past, and instead of engaging in constant rehashing of the past, because in fact, if you look at history, if you study history broadly, everyone was a slave. Everyone.
Yes. Well, not everyone was a slave.
No, everyone was a slave.
Okay, but
we are all descended from slaves.
Yeah.
Well, all of us.
Yeah.
It's just a question of when. Was it more recent or less recent? That's it.
Right.
But what future do we want? Is this something we want to make part of our constant dialogue forever, or do we want to say, like, let's just move on and treat everyone, according to just who they are as an individual?
I agree with you with that. That's the ideal. But what the evidence shows is that that's not what's actually in practice.
I think we're doing better than anywhere else.
That's true. I agree with that. But that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean a lot to a whole lot of people who aren't able to take advantage of the opportunities that you were able to take advantage of, simply because of the color of your skin.
What advantages does my color of my skin give me?
Well, there's an ease that you have in society that many people of color don't. You were able to come to this country voluntarily. There are many people who were not able to come to the country voluntarily. There are people who came here as slaves.
It's very difficult for me to come here.
And there is a legacy of slavery that still continues on. There's a legacy of racism that still continues on in this country. undeniable.
Well, if we keep talking about it nonstop, it will never go away. If we keep making that the central thing, it will never go away.
Well, why do you believe that?
I think I'm just making a simple statement of fact. So
It sounds like a bad take. I don't
we
think it's a
wanna
table take.
Get away from making everything a race or a gender or whatever issue, and just treat people like
Shit, now
individuals.
it's true.
Do you have any desire to understand what many people of color and even trans people, how they feel about this country and how they're treated in this country?
I think what he means is that if there's something going on and you make it about race, or whatever, I don't think it's causing much good. You're just keeping the topic hot and whatever, and it goes nowhere. I think what he means by that is like, it's like if you say, hey man, hey yo chat, you're dumb, and then you say, dude, all you're saying is because I'm white or I'm whatever. It doesn't really go anywhere.
If they say and they believe that they are treated a certain way in this country,
Adds to the
why
fire.
don't you believe them?
You cannot have a situation where someone is a self-described victim, and they just get to be that because that's how they feel.
This guy wants Elon to
I
stop
think that
racism.
that does happen
Literally.
in some
Stop it then.
cases, but not all cases. And I think that not understanding the history of the country, I think, is a real shame. Look,
We should understand the history of the country and other countries.
I've had incredible opportunities as a person of color.
Right.
But I've also
You're doing very well.
But I've also been discriminated against, and I know that I have, and I know that that's real. And for someone to say that that isn't happening, I should just move forward and not think about that and ignore the past, is insulting.
I'm not saying it. Don, you keep putting words in my mouth. I'm not saying it.
I didn't say that you said
I'm
it.
saying that we want to. We as a country should move beyond questions of race and gender, and we should treat people like individuals and base our opinions on them on the, their character and their skills.
I don't think that anyone will disagree with that.
Exactly.
All I'm saying is that that's not happening and is not equal for everyone. That those opportunities don't happen for everyone. And I am a living example that they don't. I know that they don't because I live it.
You've been incredibly successful.
I have been,
And
in spite of it all. But I know what I know. I've experienced what I've experienced. You haven't done that. And I cannot, I don't know what it's like to be from South Africa. I don't know what it's like to be a white man. I don't know what it's like to be a woman. I don't know what it's like to be a Latino person. I don't know that. So I wouldn't speak for them and just say, you need to move on. That's not for me to say. I believe that it would be great if the country could live up to that ideal.
Okay.
You think that everyone has the same opportunities in America, regardless of their background and ethnicity. Do you agree?
No, I don't think everyone has the same opportunities.
Okay. So when you talk about, let's talk about trans rights. When you decided to talk about the trans rights movement, you said that it was a woke mind virus. Why do you believe the trans rights movement is a woke mind virus? What do you mean by woke mind virus?
Woke mind virus is when you stop caring about people's skills and their integrity, and you start focusing instead on gender and race and other things that are different from that. I think the woke mind virus is fundamentally
because he's
racist,
just full
fundamentally
positive.
sexist, and fundamentally evil.
Neuralink was getting the best
Okay, and,
answer.
We've got a little bit more time, so
Yeah.
you choose your question.
Okay,
carefully.
so okay, thank you for that. But I would appreciate you answering these. I think it's important that we're doing this. I think it's important to the world to hear this, especially what's going on in our country. The reason I ask you, listen, there are a whole lot of things that people maybe have questions about when it comes to transgender people. Even people who are part of the LGBTQ plus community have questions about that. But if you are a free speech absolutist, right, and that is part of the First Amendment, also the freedom of expression falls under that First Amendment as well. So why can't people choose to identify with the gender that they feel comfortable with?
Wait,
or
hold
use a
on.
pronoun?
Wait, this guy just counter-argued his earlier points. Like, this guy just completely owned his first part of the interview, no?
Isn't that part of freedom of expression?
I guess no. They can ask others to do whatever they feel. They can ask others to do anything. It's a different question whether they mandate that others do that thing.
Okay. Let's talk more about free speech and for advertisers, right? Because all this controversy, I believe, as you know, has made.
Well, I don't think he banned or like fuck the algorithm against said tweets or whatever. I think he had an opinion about it, right?
X less appealing to advertisers. About half of them have left the platform. You call advertisers that left X.com. You said they were oppressors. You've even gone as far as saying it publicly that they can go F themselves or go fuck themselves.
If they're going to force censorship on the company before advertising, then obviously I find that unacceptable.
You find it unacceptable. Why is that not a form of free speech? They are free to advertise where they want. They're not beholden to. They're not.
Yeah, but he's also right to say "fuck you." Wait, that goes both ways. What the fuck?
Obligated to advertise.
They're not obligated.
On X.com.
Right.
So, how is that not free speech?
Bro, this guy thinks that an opinion is as bad as banning something or eradicating it from the website or controlling information. This guy thinks that, like, if he says, yo, fuck you, that's like banning them or some shit. Like, I don't think he understands how this shit works.
Whereas the other platforms will censor on behalf of advertisers, the X platform will not. Okay. So, but you think you don't think it's okay for them not to advertise with or have their content or their advertisement next to something that is anti-Semitic or...
That is a different question.
Oh my God.
You can absolutely choose.
I'm done. This is just so dumb. Chad, this Lemon guy, guys, is he like a liked person? Is he a liked person? Oh man, hey yo, Lemon guy. Yo, Lemon guy, watch this. I'm about to do a fucking hot potato buy-in. Watch some of this shit.